You have a story to share about your life here on Earth. I saw it. He will come in and say, I got an EV card, and this is at Breezy. I've made 90 whatever, the million, and it says KKK Max. For the 4 songs I owe you, may I have $25,000. I simply want to go, bro, leading up to his current identity. But I'm not even stumbling. What the heck? I have an EBT card. Man, I don't even understand, bro. The long-standing conflict between Kevin McCall and Chris Brown surfaced again when McCall's breakdown became public. However, Young Thug intervened and confronted Chris directly before things could calm down. A peaceful discussion swiftly devolved into a furious altercation. And the leaked video from that evening demonstrated just how crazy things got. October 20th, 2025 turned into a day that the music industry will never forget. The 40-year-old Kevin McCall took part in what was meant to be a routine audio conversation on Back on Fig. But everyone was startled by what happened. Kevin revealed a part of himself to the world that no one was prepared for during that nearly 3-hour meeting, dissecting one of the most talked about rivalries in R&B. After around 45 minutes, as the hosts were praising his musical prowess, he suddenly lost it. Abruptly, he took out his electronic benefits transfer card, or EBT card, and set it down on the table. Kevin sobbed in front of the camera, allowing millions of people to witness his suffering. The internet was really astonished by it since it was raw and emotional. It may have been shock, sympathy, or both. Everyone experienced something observing at that precise moment. In the past, this man contributed to some of the biggest singles of the 2000s and 2010s, songs that brought in millions of dollars and took home significant honors. However, he was candidly discussing the use of government help as a means of subsistence. Seeing such a gifted artist go from the pinnacles of stardom to fighting to make ends meet was devastating. Kevin was entirely honest when he acknowledged that he and his ex-girlfriend, Eva Marcel, were behind on their $2,000 monthly child support payments for their daughter Marley. In reality, I'm essentially uttering words in a text message. They only say that. One guy is shouting, yo, do this, while another guy is saying, word, how do you feel about that? I mean, I can't talk about my brother's cases or what's happening with them. I am able to just be the person I've always been. I'm a rock brother. It's a life. We are the ones never. He acknowledged that he hadn't seen his children in more than 10 years and that the emotional burden had caused him to have some negative thoughts. Bro, give me the $25,000 you owe me for those 4 tracks. Kevin pleaded directly to Chris Brown through genuine tears and painful honesty. McCall asserted that the total amount of unpaid royalties could be close to $3 million, claiming that his previous CBE deal was invalid and that he had been defrauded of his earnings. It was astounding how different it was. Kevin wrote some of the songs that Chris Brown performed on his Breezy Bowl 20 tour, which brought in between $90 and $100 million. Kevin said that he was merely shopping in silence in an effort to survive, to avoid being identified in that unpleasant circumstance. That video became wildly popular. No hyperbole. It was all over the place in a matter of hours. You name it, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The primary video, which my mixtape shared, received over 9 million views on Twitter, and people were talking about it nonstop. People were completely divided. Kevin McCall was perceived by some viewers as a man crushed by a harsh industry, serving as a depressing reminder of how quickly celebrity can fade when the business side becomes icy. Others, however, had a different perspective, claiming that Kevin was dealing with the impact from his own judgments following years of poor choices and public outcry. Fans, critics, and even celebrities were constantly chiming in on the contentious discussion. Next, the twist that no one anticipated. Suddenly, with a tremendous gesture that startled everyone, Young Thug, who had just returned home and was prepared to act differently, entered the conversation. One day after Kevin's emotional podcast moment went viral on October 21st, 2025, Thug tweeted, "Kevin McCall, hit me, bro. I'll give you the $25,000 you need. And I know CB would too. He's just busy sometimes. It was amazing to see that Thug wasn't chasing attention or trying to gain clout. Instead, he was genuinely offering to help. In addition to being willing to pay the $25,000, Kevin claimed he and Chris Brown were in a position where everyone could see their next move. In 2020, during the COVID lockdowns, Young Thug and Chris Brown collaborated on their Slime and B mixtape, a 13-track project that had fans going crazy. The lead single, Go Crazy, didn't just live up to its name. It shot all the way to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and went 4 times platinum. Young Thug was walking a tight line, defending Chris Brown while still showing compassion for Kevin McCall, which is uncommon. Certified magic, but it wasn't just about the music. When Young Thug was imprisoned in May 2022 on RICO charges and spent more than 2 years fighting his case, Chris Brown didn't back down. He was one of the few artists who showed true love, posting free YSL and speaking on Thug with genuine care in interviews, keeping his name alive when others remained silent. As a result, when Thug stepped up to help Kevin McCall, he wasn't betraying Chris Brown or switching sides. Rather, he was acting as a real mediator, showing compassion to a man who was obviously struggling. That's true leadership. When Thug tweeted, "CB would give it to you, too, bro." Sometimes he's just busy. It displayed perfect harmony. He wasn't making fun of anyone. He was demonstrating comprehension. "What's up, bro? I'm just seeing this. About 2 DM you now." Kevin McCall promptly replied with gratitude. For a split second, it seemed as if everything might finally calm down. Young Thug has already demonstrated his commitment to change. After being released from federal custody and concentrating on giving back, a few months prior, in August 2025, he had demonstrated that his heart was in the right place by planning a sizable charity event for local children in Atlanta. He seemed sincere when he offered Kevin an olive branch, as if he was genuinely attempting to avert another catastrophe before it occurred. However, Chris Brown arrived with an entirely different vibe. In October, Chris sent a message on Instagram stories on the 22nd of 2025. And it went viral right away. It said, "Remember this. You can't walk across a burnt bridge." And you know what's funnier than a troll? A broken one. That post hit like a bomb. It was cold and dismissive and made Chris's stance crystal clear. No reunion, no forgiveness, no payout, nothing. The bridge wasn't just burned. It was gone for good. Fans immediately flooded social media, picking sides and debating whether Chris was being too cold-hearted. The drama had officially reached new heights. Fans pointed out that Kevin McCall had once made serious threats against Chris and his daughter, saying that after everything, Kevin had been given multiple chances, but he kept dropping the ball. Many felt that his situation was sadly the result of his own choices and that blaming Chris wasn't fair. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. "Before anyone says Chris Brown is being mean, context. Kevin McCall once threatened him and his daughter royalty." The post went viral, garnering thousands of likes and shares, and it shaped the conversation for days. However, not everyone agreed. A few music insiders even pointed out how common this pattern is in the industry, saying that regardless of Kevin's personal mistakes or reckless behavior, if he was truly owed money, he deserved to be paid. That's business, plain and simple. However, to truly understand how things spiraled to this breaking point, with Kevin crying on camera and Chris Brown firing back with no mercy, you have to go back to when they were just two hungry young talents trying to break into the game before friendship turned into fallout. It all started on March 9, 2016, when Kevin finally broke his silence and tweeted. Kevin McCall's next daring action was to publicly post, "I tried the adult business route. In response to Chris Brown, need to sit down and handle this business." That remark ignited the first flame in a dispute that would explode years later. "I feel like my generosity is being misinterpreted as weakness." That was a clear line in the sand, a direct message that everyone could see. Kevin wasn't looking for attention. He wanted accountability. And he was demanding a genuine discussion about what he perceived to be years of unpaid royalties and broken promises, the kind of behind the scenes music politics that can end careers in silence. However, if Kevin anticipated a composed or private response from Chris Brown was in for a shock. The very next day, March 10th, 2016. Chris responded with a lengthy Instagram post that left no room for doubt. It was emotional, raw, and very public, the kind of response that permanently closes the door on reconciliation. In that post, Chris accused Kevin of being ungrateful and trying to bring him down, even warning him to stop spreading negativity. Fans immediately realized that this was no longer just a typical business dispute. There were thousands of comments debating who was right and wrong. Meanwhile, Kevin tried to maintain his composure by writing on Snapchat saying, "I'm Chris Brown's biggest fan." Actually, it was impossible to determine if he was being serious or sarcastic. The tension between respect, betrayal, and pain set the tone for everything that would follow. From that point on, it was no longer just a business issue. It became a personal feud that would haunt both of their careers for years to come. Kevin used to refer to Chris as his little brother. But by 2016, that bond had completely shattered. What had once been brotherhood turned into pure tension, filled with mixed emotions. One minute he was demanding to be released from his contract. The next he was praising Chris's talent and regret that it was made public. Then, in June 2016, Kevin released a diss track called Baruchi, which was a play on the name of Chris's ex-girlfriend, Kui. He later acknowledged that he only did it to get under Chris's skin. It was petty and personal, demonstrating how far things had fallen between them. However, on December 11, 2017, Kevin posted a video challenging Chris to a one-on-one fight, accusing him of dishonesty and toughness. Fans were shocked. At the moment, that really signaled the end of their relationship. The past. That act said it all. The brotherhood was officially dead, and there was no going back. Kevin captioned that video with a bitter message symbolizing the end of everything he and Chris Brown had built together. Chris didn't respond with words, just two emojis, one with a blank face and the other laughing. That small reaction said it all. It was cold, dismissive, and probably cut deeper than any full post ever could. It was the ultimate industry statement. You're not even worth my energy. However, things got out of hand on January 6, 2018. No matter how bad things get, you never bring someone's child into it. From that moment on, there was no coming back. Whatever brotherhood they once had was gone for good. Kevin's words had ended any chance of reconciliation and turned public opinion completely against him. In hip-hop and really in life, there are certain lines you just don't cross. And bringing someone's child into drama is one of them. That's off limits. No excuses. After his unsettling tweets, the internet erupted. In an attempt to repair the damage, McCall claimed that people misinterpreted his remarks and that he was only speaking symbolically. He even claimed that he loved Chris and his daughter, but by then, no one was buying it. All the sympathy Kevin had gained and all the legitimate worries about unpaid royalties had vanished in an instant. Those posts overshadowed everything, giving Chris Brown every reason to permanently distance himself. Then, in 2019, Kevin went on another online tirade, shocking everyone and confirming that his behavior had gone out of control. What could have been a tale of chaos and self-sabotage? Chris Brown once stated in an interview, if he wrote all those songs he claims he did, why isn't he writing hits now? Kevin's actions were already speaking louder than words. However, in a resurfaced 2020 video, Chris finally addressed it indirectly, subtly flexing his success and questioning Kevin's talent in a calm but cutting way that made it clear he had moved on while Kevin was still stuck in the storm, while Chris's career continued to grow with platinum albums, world tours, and awards. Kevin McCall's momentum completely faded. His 2017 project, Man of God, barely made an impression, and his net worth, once full of potential, it dropped to almost nothing. However, to understand how things got this deep, you have to go back to where it all started. A brotherhood began in 2009 when a young Kevin McCall from Watts, Los Angeles, decided to take a huge risk that would change everything. Fresh out of college and pursuing NFL dreams, Kevin found himself at a music event trying to network when he saw Chris Brown, who was only 20 at the time and trying to rebuild his image after his career had taken a major hit. In a move of pure confidence and hunger, Kevin walked straight up to Chris and pitched his demos face to face. It was bold, fearless, and it worked. That one moment would open doors that would turn their lives and begin one of the most complex friendships in modern R&B history. Deuces featuring Tyga. A breakup anthem that peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned a Grammy nomination. Was one of the biggest hits of the early 2000s. Few fans are aware that Deuces began as Kevin's song. He wrote it about his first heartbreak and poured his real emotions into it. After being impressed, he invited Kevin to the studio, which sparked what Kevin would later call a magical era. It wasn't just music. It was brotherhood. Kevin McCall was on a hot streak. In 2011, he co-wrote and featured on Strip, which hit number 37 on the Billboard Hot 100 and had the clubs jumping. He also helped create Look at Me Now, Chris Brown's smash hit with Busta Rhymes and Lil Wayne that became his first #1 record and dominated the airwaves. Kevin's pen was all over Chris's Fame album, which earned Chris's first Grammy and cemented the rest. For a while, Kevin McCall was living every young artist's dream: money, fame, and hits that defined an era. Chris frequently referred to him as his big brother. And their studio sessions were like family, full of laughter, creativity, and genuine love. However, behind that success, cracks began to form. Around 2013, Kevin started feeling boxed in, like he was losing control of his own image and sound. In a 2015 Vlad interview, Kevin revealed that Chris wanted him to push a mature and edgy image that didn't fit him. The tension persisted until a small moment in 2014 when actress Keke Palmer reached out to collaborate. Kevin McCall was eager to break free from Chris Brown's shadow and establish his own reputation. So when Keke Palmer offered to work with him, he jumped at the chance. They filmed Shorty Wanna Ride, and Kevin felt that this was his big chance to finally shine solo. However, Chris didn't see it that way. According to Kevin, Chris called him directly and wasn't happy about the move. Feeling that the collaboration didn't fit the image he wanted for his brand, what began as a creative disagreement quickly turned personal because it was coming from Watts, Kevin. McCall later claimed that he was young, hungry, and didn't fully understand the contracts he signed under Chris Brown's company. He felt trapped in bad deals and left out of credits on songs he helped create, like Look at Me Now. Whether it was bad paperwork or bad blood, Kevin took it as betrayal, the feeling of being erased by someone he once helped build up. That call marked the real breaking point between them. It was the day their brotherhood shifted from partnership to power struggle, and nothing was the same. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment below if you want to see more in-depth dives like this. What started with hits and loyalty ended with anguish and quiet.